All right, shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. I'd also like to give double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. And I would like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, to the hopeful elect in the 1/3. And Adon Ratazah, this lesson will be edifying as well as exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash. To you, I say Shalom. All right. And the Wadi Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash for giving me the inspiration to even do this lesson. And as the title reads, time to put the flesh down and pick the spirit up. Okay. And I just want to do a exhortation video, okay, on the sincere sheep. All right, the body of believers, those in the faith, okay, those that are fighting the good fight of faith, trying to make every day better than yesterday. All right, and every day down is another day closer to the kingdom. Okay, and just give me a second here. Okay, and I really want to talk, about the battle that we're in right now. All right, and that is the battle of the flesh versus the spirit. All right, because ultimately in the kingdom, we're gonna have celestial and terrestrial, so we will be given the the pleasures of the flesh in the kingdom, but right now the pleasures of the flesh on this side are used against us. Okay, so I just want to touch on this topic. A lot of people amongst the world is in the flesh. Okay, the world's in the flesh. A lot of people in this truth are not going to even want to hear lessons like these because they got demons on them. They are in the flesh. They don't want to talk about the flesh. They want to be in the flesh, and that's ultimately going to lead to their downfall. So if you want to remain in the flesh, acting through the mindset of the flesh, just know that your end will be destruction. Okay, so for any of you out there that might catch wind of this lesson or lessons like these, and you're not going to take heed, I tell you now, you will be destroyed right along with this flesh, because this flesh is not getting to the kingdom. Let me start with that. All right, we're going to rebuke the flesh today. In this lesson, I'm speaking about myself too, because guess what? My body, my spirit is wrapped in chains of darkness as well. All right, this is what we go through. Things that you go through, we the same thoughts you have, we have them too. Okay, but we're fighting against it. That's the difference. Let me just check this real quick. Okay, so this is 1 Corinthians 15 and 50. All right, let's just get this right out the way. Now, this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither does corruption inherit incorruption. So you have to understand that this flesh that you're in, okay, it is not going with you in the day of deliverance. Okay, if you are of the elect, all right, if you are of the predestinated elect, all right, starting with the 144,000 Israelite men that are also in chains of darkness. Okay, just like Yahweh Shai was in chains of darkness. Okay, and for the elect women, okay, understand that this flesh, this body that you have, all right, is not going to inherit the kingdom of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. So it behooves you to put this flesh down and pick the spirit up. Now, is it going to be a daily fight? Yeah, it may not be every day, but it can be daily. All right. So the point is, you got to come to a point in this walk where you tell the flesh enough is enough, because the flesh ain't going to tell you enough is enough. All right. Now from there, let's get this. I'm building my case real quick. Romans 13 and 11. It says, and that knowing the time. All right. Hold on. Get this out of the way. And so first you got to know the time. This is why I title it, it's time to put the flesh down, because we're all victims of it. All right. We're all victims of certain things. We're all victims of other things. And one thing that I'm learning in my walk is sometimes you have to experience things so you can also show the Lord you don't want that. Okay. So it's not necessarily making the mistake. It's your reaction to after the mistake. Just like Elder Apostle Ramlab says, he said it years ago, but he basically said it, it's because it goes into a righteous man falling 7 times. So he was like, it's not what you did to fall, it's what you do to get back up. So this is a very high level character development, character building, character revealing walk. Okay, this walk is not for the weak minded. This walk is not for someone in the flesh. You have to understand that. Okay, this place, this place of Babylon is built around the flesh. Okay, it's built around the lust of the eyes. You have to understand that. Okay, no one around you carnally is rooting for you. Now we have angels that rejoice when we repent, but you have to understand that you're going to do things that you will have to repent from. Okay, that's what this flesh is set up to do. This flesh, it has been set up as a punishment, but you gotta fight it. Okay, you gotta fight against it. It says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So we're in a time to remember our first love. You know, we're in a time that where, and I'm speaking to myself, I got to fast more. Okay. And one thing that I'm learning about when you talk about the flesh, it's very humbling. Okay. It's very humbling. Not everyone wants to talk about the flesh. They do not want to talk about the elephant in the room. And guess what the elephant in the room is? You, this flesh that's on you. You know, the best way I could describe in my walking experience is fighting venom off you. Let me see what comes up. I want to like this is the flesh. Okay, this is the flesh. This is how I like to equate the flesh to. Venom movie. Okay, I'm hungry. That's what he was saying. I'm hungry. Venom movie. All right, this is what the flesh is to me. Okay, all right. Now I also add this in. We're not over righteous. We do eat. You gotta drink. You gotta hydrate. Okay, you gotta this, you gotta that. All right, no, nobody's being over righteous over here. Okay, you even have sex in captivity. Okay, you even have alcoholic beverages, but also you got to know what's evil for you. Okay, sex can be used against you. The bottle can be used against you. Let me rephrase that. Sex will be used against you. The bottle will be used against you. Food will be used against you. Okay, and this is the flesh, man. Give me brains. Let me put that in. Give me brains, and I'm gonna sum it all up with a verse in Galatians, and I want to keep saying this because I feel that people are gonna have a problem with lessons like these, and that's because that's your flesh. That's the demons in your flesh, man. Okay, the demons don't want to hear this. They don't want it. Give me brains, give me ass, give me drink, give me fun, give me party. The flesh is childish. All right. The flesh is childish. You have to understand that. Okay. Now, anyways, that's why I got that. Knowing the time, you got to know what time you're in. Let me see what else I got. Oh, yeah. Proverbs 15:33. The fear of the Lord is the instructions of wisdom. So we fear. We're afraid what the Lord could do, but we have hope that we're of that number. So we fight against this. Okay, we fight against the chains of darkness. All right, even in our low points, you're gonna go through low points in this truth, but don't let it take you out. Okay, the flesh is not rooting for you to make it. You have to understand that even this body is set up against you. That's why we take care of it to the best of our ability, because we got to maintain ourselves within it. You got to maintain your mental health. You got to maintain your mental health. You have to under your spiritual health. You have spiritual health. You got to check shit. All right. What did Leon's coach say to him before he knocked out Usman? He said, "Come on, Leon. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Come on." So these talks are necessary in the walk that we're in. All right. These motivational talks are what we need. And before honor is humility. Nobody wants to talk about the humiliation of this body. And guess what? These people know they ain't shit, man. Okay. Women know that their body ain't shit. Men know. All right. This is why people have crutches that they lean on. You know, like one thing that I notice is someone that may be like overweight, they're not necessarily a drinker because their choice or guilty pleasure is food, or someone who's a drinker, or someone who's a this, or someone who's a that. There's always something that people are overly indulging in to compensate. See? So this is why we have to remember our first love. We have to remind ourselves that the time is short, okay? And our salvation's nearer than when we even believe. So what do? You gotta tap this flesh. You gotta smack this flesh. You gotta shake it off. You know? I went and did a couple reps this morning, because one thing I want to say is the first step is the biggest step. Don't worry about all that other shit. There's enough evil in today. Just get that first step. Damn it. Just get the first step. Stop overly analyzing it. I'll put it to you like this. Someone that is saying they're going to get a gym membership, what the flesh does is it procrastinates by, well, I need to get the wristbands, I need the spandex, I need the no, man, just go take a walk. All right, you are the workout. Okay, my point is, let me get that because I just seen it. Jeremiah 17. The heart is desperately wicked. It will find excuses for you. Okay, the mind. All right, this is why your mental health is so important. Okay, look, the NLT, the human heart is the most deceitful of all things. Say you want to put something down. This is why the procrastination demon, I'm gonna cut back on drinking. And then it goes, all right, well, tonight you can overindulge because this is the last night. This is why I call the flesh venom. Give me brains. That's what the mind does. This chains of darkness. Why is it called chains of darkness? Because you're gonna have to rebuke dark thoughts. You know, they got something they say dark humor, which I'm into dark humor. It's funny. But you also have to understand that this mind will think ways of reasoning to try to get you to overindulge, over excess, overstimulate, overly sexualized. That's what it's doing. And then when it's done, now you get left there. You're bloated. You're fat. You're depleted. You don't feel good. Okay. Even that demon Lil Wayne said, after I come to my senses. Okay. Your preference in women is now lowered. We gotta really talk about the disgusting traits that this flesh desires. And that's why I sum it up with that venom. Give me brain. I'm telling you, this movie is spiritual, man. This is what the flesh is to the spiritual eye. And I'm going to sum it all up, like I said in Galatians, but I'm just trying to get everything I can get out now that I'm observing in my walk. Okay. And guess what? There's a lot of times you don't give into the flesh, but there's times that you do. And we got to talk about those times though. And other times in this walk, you may have to give in so that you learn not to give out anymore. Okay. This walk is different. I'm telling you, man, I'm still learning this. I'm still learning every day. If you think you got it, you've mistaken. Okay. Like, let me show you this, this Chinese proverb, but it's a good Chinese proverb. Let me see, proverb. And we got our own proverbs that we use. Chinese proverb, a man that blames no one. Let me see this real quick. Right here, check this out. This is actually tough to me, okay? All right, it says, he who blames others has a long way to go on his journey. He who blames himself is halfway there. He who blames no one has arrived. That's humility, because a lot of times I'll accept accountability for myself and actions, but now I'm learning there's no one to blame because man's goings are of the Lord, okay? So you got to forgive yourself. Okay. And you gotta just focus on the spirit. All right. You gotta know this is chains of darkness. You gotta understand the ugly reality of what we're involved in. And then you go, I understand why this is this. And then now you're becoming a better judge. So when I look at like certain things, you know, Jake, I'm like, man, he's got demons. He's in the flesh. Okay, but that is going to lead to their destruction. But we're also able to analyze everything. Okay, so let me see what else I got for you. I just feel like I got so much to say. All right, let's go back to this. Jeremiah 17:9, but I'll let the scripture speak. The heart, the human heart, okay, is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? See? So this mind is corrupted. This flesh is corrupted. This is why we have to be brainwashed. And then after you're brainwashed, you got to get brainwashed again. You got to, that's why people say you got a dirty mind. That's why Jake says, pause. You thought something disgusted from that statement. You got demons on your brain. Psalms 119:9. It says, it says, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. So if you want to really get clean, your cleaning is going to be in the spirit, which then opens your eyes up to the filthiness of the flesh. That's all we're talking about here. It doesn't mean that you are wicked. It doesn't mean that you are a demon. No, you're now, oh shit, I know this body. Yeah, bro, this body. That's why it's called the chains of darkness. You are wrapped in chains of darkness and your spirit doesn't desire it. Okay. So you got to start looking at temptations as a moment to show the Lord where you stand in the spirit. You got to look at even mistakes in the flesh as ways to show the Lord you don't want to do that. I don't want to do this. That's why what's her name in the movie Once Were Warriors? I think her name was Beth, actually. Let me go to this. You're a slave to your fists and a slave to the drink. Okay. Once, great movie, by the way. Once Were Warriors. Let me see if it pops up. Old movie too. Yeah, right here. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? See, and look, his name was Jake. His name was Jake the Muss. Okay, meaning Jake the Muscle. Beth, I told you her name was Beth. She said, we'll go on. She said, well, go on, do it. You're still a slave, Jake, to your fists, to the drink, to yourselves. Well, go on, kill the bloody lot of us. See? And this Jake was a slave to the flesh, man. Okay? You got to understand that. People at the bar, okay, are not, they're slaves too. All right? They're rioting, reveling. These people are not, these people are all in the flesh. Look around. These people are making actions because of the flesh. They're in prison because of the flesh. Okay? You're already in prison in this body, but they're in a further prison because of what the flesh did, what their body did. And now their spirit has to deal with it. And one thing I learned is, man, I'm getting excited. One thing I'm learning is Esau, you got to understand why it said Esau is the physical, is Satan in the flesh. Because what Esau does to you, Satan will do to you. Okay? Meaning, I'm going to sum it up with this precept. Let's go to Sirach 13. Okay? And a demon, when you hear Sirach, the first thing it'll do is make you think of drinking. Drinking is lawful, but is an expedient for you. Drinking is a heavy, can be a heavy demon, man. All right. Now there's all balance to all things, but not every brother can handle it. Okay. Let me go to Sirach. Okay. I just had 3 points. Let me just get one. This is Sirach. I believe it's 13. Let me see. Check this out. Okay. Sirach 13 and right here. Sirach 13:3, the rich man has done no wrong. Let me start at 4. It says, if thou be for his profit, we use this for Esau. If thou be for his profit, he will use you. Okay. But if you be a prophet for Satan, he will use you. And then after he's done with you, he leaves you there. Okay. That's why it says those that consent will be had in derision. You got to understand the demonic attack that people will be under to accept the MOTB. All right. And that's why, like the elder, I watched this video. He said, you can't be like Smokey with this shit. It keep calling me. No, it's not. It's Satan. It's demons. It's demons. The mind is deceitful. That ain't your thoughts. Okay? That ain't, you could have a demonic attack where the flesh wants you to drink, but then the flesh will be sick the next day. So the flesh don't know what the fuck it's doing, man. You gotta grab this body by the horns, by the reins. Okay, that's real manhood. All right, accepting the fact that it's not an easy walk, but through Yahweh Shai, you can cast your burdens on him. All right, the flesh don't want to get right. You know, shit. The flesh don't even be wanting to work out. The flesh don't want to be healthy. But the body needs to be in shape. The body needs herbs and supplements and water and hydration. But the body itself won't. You got to make it do that. You know, it says, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bare and will not be sorry for it. So this flesh will do all types of things. And then at the end, you got to deal with the consequences. Okay? You have to understand that. We are waiting for the celestial with the terrestrial. So you can't get caught up in the terrestrial right now. Okay? Now from there, I got some more things I want to say. So now what I'll do is let me see. Yep, we got the brainwash. Let's go into this, and I'm gonna go to Galatians to sum it all up. Look, this is the room that we're all in right now. Okay, when you look around, and I always use this as an example, and I will use it again. Okay, this is the flesh. Excuse me. All right, this is the flesh right here, and I'm gonna show you it. I'm gonna show you what the flesh is. Okay, the flesh is fighting, brawling. The flesh is all about sex. Look, see. Tats, ass, they're all in the flesh. You have to understand that. This man is completely taken over by demons in the flesh. All right? This is all flesh. You see? Look, this woman said her God is C-U-M. I know it's lewd and it's unseemly, but I'm addressing the elephant in the room, and the elephant is the flesh. Check it. You got to check that shit, because the flesh won't check itself. Your spirit has to check this flesh, man, because the flesh will leave your ass bruised, beaten, sore, ashamed, okay, disgusted. That's what this flesh is set up to do. See? And these women, they're supposed to be, that's them. They're the flesh, okay? They are in the flesh, you know, and they're using things like, we're allowed, yes, you're allowed to have sex. Yes, you're allowed to drink. Yes, you're allowed to eat. But the flesh overly indulges, wherein is excess. That's what I want to talk about, the excess, okay? You got to beware of the excess that this flesh will do. It will overly indulge. You could have a drink. I'm talking to the brothers, because, you know, even the sisters, they shouldn't be even drinking like that, okay? It goes into it. But for the brothers, you could have a sip, and then the flesh, I literally, I'm cool. And the flesh be like, but I want more. I want more. Give me more brains. I'm like, this flesh is an enemy. But we're told that. Now let me grab this precept. We're told, and it's a blessing that we can even acknowledge this. It's a blessing that we can acknowledge it, man. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 18 and 20. And this is what I want to say. One thing I'm learning is these people are rooting for you to fall. They want you to be in the flesh. They want you to be out of shape. They want you to be overly sexualized. And that it invigorates me. It angers me. It allows me to see that they're not in our corner. And that's what being a man is, when you know you're in that ring alone. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 18 and 20. Before judgment, examine yourself. You have to examine yourself. Am I tripping? Am I been in the flesh lately? And the answer will be yes. You know, but you have the opportunity to change it. It says, examine thyself, and in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy. See? So what are we after? We're after mercy. Okay, good precepts, the water. Romans 8 and 5, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. So you got to check yourself. Am I in the flesh or am I in the spirit? All right. And like I said, it's not to be over righteous. Okay. It's just, it's knowing when it's time to put that flesh down and pick the spirit up. Oh man, you know what? I ain't been fasting enough. I ain't been reading enough. I ain't been this enough. But you've been doing that enough, and that enough. See? So it's all about self-examination, pointing out the elephant in the room. That's all it is. Now, let me go back to this. I want to get this point. So 1 John 2 and 15, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. And that's why I use World Star. I call it nigga news, but you gotta, it's flesh. Okay. World Star is the flesh and it's called world. Okay. So this is what the world is indulged in. The world is indulged in that. This is why the world reacts the way they do. And I'm going to show you the reactions of the flesh that the world does. And I am guilty of it too. That's why I said I'm learning. Talking about the flesh, a lot of people don't talk about it because it's humiliating, it's humbling, but it's also the reality that we are in. So why can't we talk about that? So that's something that has to be addressed too. Humbling yourself. It says, if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So what is the love of the world? It says, for all that is in the world, and this is what people love, they love the lust of flesh. They love the lust of eyes. They love the pride of life. And that is not of the Father, but is of the world. Okay, look, the love of flesh, the love of eyes, okay? And she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. All right, and this is rumored to be a man. You see that? You see? And then this is, the flesh overtakes you, and you fucking found out there wasn't even a woman. See? This is how disgusting and demonic this place is, but we have to address it. This is life-saving information we're given here, you know? This is life-saving information we're given, man. This is mercy. People don't know. You got men in prison. What they always say, a 5-minute reaction cost me 20 years of my life. The flesh is an enemy. Satan is not your friend. Okay? Esau's not here to help. Women are being used against you. Food is weaponized. You are encased in a body that is desperately wicked. Okay? You got to know when the flesh is speaking. You have to know when the flesh is speaking. Oh man, that's Satan. That's the flesh. That's you know, like what they call it, beer goggles. Well, don't they call it that, brothers? And we know, trust me, us as men, we know, fake news, right? We know. And this lesson isn't to make you feel bad. It's to make you consider and you got men whose lives that have been ruined, you know, that have been ruined because of it. Beer goggle is a slang term referring to the phenomenon where alcohol, okay, spirit draining. That's another thing too. You gotta be careful. This shit could corrupt you, man. That's why it says, let me look this up. Alcohol, energy draining. I can't remember. Let's see, draining. Let's see. Let me see what comes up. See, there's a lot on this, man. This shit is evil. Let me see. It's right here. Truth about alcohol. I'm just using this as an example because this is a easily accessible way to overthrow you. You know. Then it's the flesh. Then it's overly sexualized. It's always something because you're in chains of darkness. What is it? Al-Ghul? What do they say? It's some like Elam proverb. It's some Al-Ghul. Energy draining spirit. If it don't come up, it's okay. I'm sure you brothers have came across this saying. Let's see. It says, based on popular belief in some spiritual teachings, alcohol consumption can be seen as draining spiritual energy or hindering spiritual growth. Yeah, that's why it says refrain from drinking so you can be in the spirit. This is real life. Let's see. Let me see what scripture. I know it. I think it's in the Gospels. Okay. See? Ephesians 5:18. Believers are instructed, and be not drunk with wine. But in one precept, it also told you could take wine for stomach health. But not every brother can handle that. And I'm just using this as an example. Okay. I'm just using this there can be something else. It can be overindulgent. Remember, wine and women has overthrown many. So I'm pinpointing a general basis of a consumption that the flesh will indulge in, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. See? You see? So you got to understand that. Excess, flesh. Now going back, let me see here. Yeah, so that's the all right. See how alcohol controls you. That's why they call it spirits. That's a real thing. And these people are overly taken by the flesh. All right. 99.9% of people are in the flesh. We just read it in First John. So you now are in a path surrounded by people in the flesh, and you now have the option, okay, to walk in the Spirit, because no one's going to feel sorry for you when you get taken by the wiles of the devil. They're not going to feel sorry for you because you're another one taken by the flesh. And that what keeps me going in the Spirit, knowing that the enemy is hoping that I fall victim to these temptations. That when you come to serve the Lord, you got to prepare your soul for temptation every single day. Every time you wake up, there's going to be something that can or will try you. And the first thing is this flesh, this desperately wicked mind. All right. You got to know that. You got to understand that. Okay. And then knowing that after all of that, 1 John 2:17, and the world passes away and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahweh abideth forever. And we are serving a power who is a spirit. All right. You have to know that. John 4, you have to know that Yahweh is a spirit. You must serve him in spirit and truth. Okay. So you just got to check that the wickedness that's around us. That's all. That's all. And remember, Yahweh Shai was brought down in the flesh. Okay. But he showed us he overcame it. So we can overcome too, man. Okay. So now let me read this. Check this out. This is high level, man. Galatians 5 and 16. It says, so I say, walk by the Spirit, brothers. And it's a full-time job. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. And this is the NIV. Okay. It says, for the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit. All right. So the flesh desires things that your spirit don't. But you may go through things in the flesh so that it's seen what your spirit really wants. Isn't that high level? Isn't that a high level maturing character develop building walk? And the Spirit, what is contrary to the flesh. So this is one and one, man. This is one against another is what I'm saying. This thing is one against another, man. Okay. Like the movie Nutty Professor. That's what that showed you. Buddy Love, Nutty Professor. All right, look, this is the flesh versus the spirit, man. Okay, this is the flesh versus the spirit. Yes, I can. No, you won't. Chunky butt. You see what I'm saying? I watched this the other day with new eyes. I mean, granted, the demonic tranny shit, but anyway, outside of that, let me just keep on the spirit aspect. Okay, right here, it's the flesh versus the spirit, and this was the demon in him that got him like this. Okay. It got him like that, and it was all about the flesh, sex, women, money. You know, no more titties. You know, but the point is, you got to see the battle for what it is, man. All right, so let me go back. You know, I like taking spiritual nuggets out of movies and applying it to the walk so we can visually see it together and go, okay, I get you now, I get it now. All right, back to this. It says 17, for the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit. Beer goggles. And I always say a lot of these women only have power because men are in the flesh. If men weren't in the flesh, these women wouldn't have the power that they got, man. Okay, even big women. All right, even them. Okay, and then they use it to their advantage. They don't have mercy on you. They'll put you on child support that make your life a living hell. They're not humble. They have no shame. They don't feel guilt for their immoral acts. And it's evil, disgusting, and I hate it, but I understand now the reality of it. I understand now, okay? It's a baptism within itself, okay? Even Lot was vexed day to day with the filthy conversations, all right? And he was in Sodom and Gomorrah, man. That was completely the flesh. That was completely the flesh. And you have to fight against this flesh. Otherwise, you will be given over to it. Do you really want to be given over to this disgusting, nasty chains of darkness? Because I don't. I don't. It says, for the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit, and the spirit what is contrary to the flesh. Yeah, the flesh don't want to fast. They are in conflict with each other so that you are not to do whatever you want. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. The act, because when you're in the Spirit, you're gonna live by the law. You're gonna live by what's pleasing to the Lord. Okay, you're gonna literally live by what the Lord is pleased with. The acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality. So the mere fact that ICBK says that you could do something to a woman where we're told not to, that's because they're in the flesh, man. Okay, that right there, you are in the flesh. Impurity, debauchery. Let's look up debauchery. Okay, let's look this up. Hope my Wi-Fi is still working. Let's go here. This is an elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is your flesh, man. And the flesh is a piece of shit. I'm gonna say it like it is. Extreme indulgence in bodily pleasures, especially sexual pleasures. See? Look, behavior involving sex, drugs, alcohol. Was that sex, drugs, and rock and roll? That's the flesh, okay? That is often considered immoral. He was glad when others joined them, men and women, and they had more drink and spent the night in wild rioting and debauchery. See? This is what's out here. This is what can happen if you're in the flesh, man. All right? If you're overindulgent in the flesh. Like I said, you can't be simple. No one's telling you you can't do this, you can't do that, if you will. But if you need to be told certain things, you got to check that, okay? But the point is examining, having self-restraint, applying discipline. We have to have these talks, especially now more than ever. We're at the end, man, okay? We're at the end, all right? Last thing I want to be is through in the flesh, drunk somewhere with some torta as prophecies happening. Okay, look at that dude, man. All right, Alazar should be used as an example of what the flesh will do to you in this walk. That guy's completely out of here because of the flesh, man. Yeah, serious. All right. It says idolatry when witchcraft. So you start idolizing things. Okay, witchcraft. You start indulging in certain things. See, hatred. That's in the flesh. Hating one another, discord, jealousy. That's a demon in the flesh. Fits of rage, selfish ambition, being selfish, not helping the next brother, Anytime I get anything, the first thing I'm blessed to think about is the brother, Here, bro, yo, I get a job, there's an opportunity. Yo, bro, you need a job? I get an opportunity. Hey, bro, you want to do this with me? Hey, yo, you want this? Here, yo, you let's share. You see, you got to think about these things. Dissensions. Let's see. Let's look that up. Let's say, let me look that up. We got to look up our words like our elders teach us, dissensions, if I'm even pronouncing it right. Disagreements, right? What the fuck you always disagreeing for? Sit your fleshly ass down, man. You see, you don't want that around. You don't want that. Leads to discourse. The Lord don't like that. These issues cause bitter dissension in the party. Yeah, man, what are you doing? Shut up. Sit down. Relax. You got to tell this flesh to shut up. Sit down. Be quiet. Factions, envy. Look, drunkenness, and then look, orgies. See? You getting overly blacked out drunk and horny every day, And then, oh my God, what did I do last night? And now you're laughed at. Now you're a mockery. That's why it says wine's a mocker. You're all emotional. You're crying. Now you're embarrassed. See, this walk is true manhood, man. Okay, if you don't understand that you got to be your own man and man up, hey, you got growing to do, man. Okay, and I'm speaking from experience. All right. And this is why people don't like talking about this, because it's embarrassing. But this is why we're giving these letters and warnings. All right, orgies, that nigga woman, man. I don't even know if she's a woman or a man. The bunny woman, the thousands men popping her, and then those men are sick too for doing it. You both are wicked and evil and guilty and disgusting. And now they're saying she might be a man. See what the flesh will do? See what Satan will do? And the like, I warn you, as I did before, that those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of Yahweh. What? Being in the flesh means I ain't going to get delivered. You know, this is why it's about the predestinated, because we all got our own personal walk, our own personal mistakes, our own reasons why we fell 7 times, but the righteous man get up. So now you're aware of things. But look, this is what spirit we got to be in. But the fruit of the spirit is love. Got to love one another. Love this truth. Love the Lord. Love correction. You know, love the fact that we could get back up. Joy that prophecy is being fulfilled. You know, peace, to be spiritually minded. Okay, the brother posted it in the comments. To be spiritually minded is life and peace. You got to have life and peace. You got to be peaceful. That the fact that this is even talked about, like, woo, see, forbearance, kindness, being kind one another, considering one another, goodness, faithfulness, gentle, self-control. See, self-control. Now I'm good. But the flesh wants more. Yeah, but I'm good. See. The flesh wants more, but you having self-control. Against such things, there is no law. See, those who belong to Hamashiach Yahushai have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. Passions and sufferings. So you got to crucify the flesh while suffering it. But that's the purging. That's what a growth is. Okay. What they say, no pain, no gain. This is what it's all about, man. As prophecies being fulfilled and desires, since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking, and envying each other. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful right there. You know, I didn't expect this lesson to go this long, but I guess talking points like this can. You know, conversations like this are not being had in the world, because the world is of the flesh. See, but you are not to be of the flesh. You're to be of the Spirit. But understand that mistakes will be made. Okay, understand that. Do not fall victim to the woe is me, because that the flesh is a piece of shit. The flesh is weak, but the spirit is willing. See how there's constant edification on these talks, man. And we got to thank Yahweh Bashim Shai, Bashim Rakakwadash, for giving us this. This is vital. This is why it says wisdom is better than any precious rubies. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there. I feel like I got more to say, but I'm gonna leave it there. I believe the point has been made, and I'm just thankful that the Lord allows me to edify. You know, Lord willing. You know, and start with myself first. You know, start with myself first. And so it's all about, because one thing I do got to say is that think about the walking in the Spirit when the MOTB comes. You know, so I'm gonna leave it there. All right, so I just want to say, call halal abanawa Yahweh bahashim Yahushai bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well, and peace of mind and salutations to the Lord's elect. All right, just keep fighting, keep holding on to that crown. Okay, we're all going through our necessary steps in this walk for us to be renewed day by day. That's all it is. It's not for your destruction. It's not for your destruction. Do not allow the flesh to win. Okay, so hey, with that being said, shalom.